No DQ Galaxy, we are live with a recap of Monday Night Raw for Monday, April 1st, 2024. And even though today is April Fool's Day, there is nothing to joke about. WrestleMania is this coming weekend. Today was a very newsworthy day, so make sure you stay tuned to NoDQ.com for the very latest wrestling news and rumors. A lot going on in the world of wrestling. It is busy times here on NoDQ.com. Let's get to the Raw recap. Chat room, how are we feeling about WrestleMania? Shout out to Austin. Thank you, Austin, for the super chat. Sent in $2, says Steve Austin needs to be the referee for the tag team match. I think it's a little late to do that unless we get some sort of an announcement on SmackDown. I don't really think Austin needs to be the referee, but I would not be shocked if Austin makes some sort of an appearance at WrestleMania. Now, let's talk about the beginning of the show. We had the footage shown from last week's insane ending with The Rock beating up Cody Rhodes and making him bleed. Michael Cole on commentary said that Cody Rhodes was not cleared to appear on Monday Night Raw, but he would be at WrestleMania. Now we had The Rock coming out to kick off the show. The Rock was wearing his old cow vest that he wore back around, I want to say 2001, 2002. The Rock bragged about making Cody Rhodes bleed. He made that boy bleed. And as he was talking and gloating, the crowd did the old Stone Cold what chants at him. The Rock is a veteran of dealing with those chants, so he just went with it. He let them chant what? He said the only thing missing from that weightlifting belt are the tears of Mama Rhodes. And then he showed some footage, some reactions from these little girls that were crying, videos that were published on TikTok and social media. The Rock said seeing these little girls cry breaks his heart as a father. However, a man's got to do what a man's got to do. And when people talk shit that should not be talking shit, they need to get their ass beat. They did censor shit, of course. Rock once again brought up how wrestling is cool. Ratings are through the roof. They had the largest live gate in Raw history. They're in Brooklyn, New York at the Barclays Center. 13th straight sellout on television. And The Rock then said he did not come alone. And that led to Roman Reigns and the Bloodline coming to the ring. Keep in mind, this was commercial free this first hour of Monday Night Raw. So we got the full entrance from Roman Reigns. Michael Cole brought up the documentary, which I need to check out as soon as possible. The Roman Reigns A&E documentary. And Michael Cole brought up how Reigns said he will be gone if he loses at WrestleMania. Roman Reigns said he came to Raw to acknowledge his family. And he said that it's going to be the easiest WrestleMania of his life because of what The Rock did. He thanked The Rock for beating up Cody Rhodes. And Roman said that when they got this whole thing going with the Bloodline in 2020, Cody was off doing a whole lot of nothing, which might be interpreted as a little bit of a shot at AEW, but he did not mention AEW. Seth Rollins arrived through the crowd, little throwback to the Shield days. He said the time for talk was over. He wanted a fight on Monday Night Raw. He said that Brooklyn deserves the biggest main event in the history of Raw. And he said he wants a match with The Rock. Now, he said he doesn't think The Rock has the balls to fight him. So he said Roman Reigns would be fine too. He would fight them in any kind of a match. The Rock did respond, and no shock here, The Rock turned it down. The Rock then handed the mic over to Solo Sikoa. And Solo Sikoa accepted the match. And The Rock said it would be Bloodline rules. Now, I thought this was overall a very good segment. The only negative is how they set this up by teasing the biggest Raw main event in history, and then it's just Seth Rollins versus Solo. A guy, by the way, who is like 0-34. No kidding. He has not won a match, televised or live events, since he beat John Cena at Crown Jewel in November. So, yeah, I think I would have worded it differently and not teased everybody. We're going to have the biggest Raw main event of all time, and it's just Rollins versus Solo. Little bit of a letdown with that kind of a tease, but still enjoyable segment. Rock did great. Roman did great. Rollins did great. Overall, thumbs up. Now, we had footage shown from Rhea Ripley and Becky Lynch getting heated during an appearance on the MMA Hour. The MMA Hour was a noteworthy show, not really for this so much, but the CM Punk interview. Check out NoDQ.com. Lots of transcripts and video clips from that interview. I really recommend checking out the whole thing when you get the chance. He went all in on All In. Let's just put it that way. He said more than I thought he was going to say about his run in AEW. And that was really the meat of that interview. So check it out if you haven't watched it already. Definitely recommend that you watch it. Listen to it, whatever you got to do. Shout out to Psycho Jet Black, who sent in a $2 super chat. Thank you for that. I appreciate it. There's the thumbs up. Says, even now, WWE still overhypes some matches. That they do, but that's what WWE has been known for throughout their history. Promoters promote, and sometimes promoters overhype. That's what they do. They hype up the show as much as possible. Every year is the biggest WrestleMania of all time. Every night is the greatest night in the history of our sport, as Tony Schiavone used to say. It's just how they do business. Shout out to Building Nexus. Thumbs up for you. Thank you for the super chat. I appreciate it. This is night 2 of 13 straight nights of live streaming. So again, thank you guys for your support of NoDQ.com. He says, should Rock take over the Bloodline if Roman Reigns loses? I would like to see more Rock, but realistically, I don't think we're going to see him all that much. He's probably going to disappear again. Although what's interesting to me is on Raw, they did confirm that Clash at the Castle will return in June. That is very interesting. They're putting a lot of premium live events in a very short period of time, and I'm curious as to what they have in store for that event. Makes me think they got a big main event planned. Maybe Drew McIntyre goes for the world title in the UK. I don't know. They haven't announced the location yet, but that's coming on Tuesday, so stay tuned. Shout out to Walter Cruz. Rage of Wrestling sent in a $2 super chat. Says, CM Punk buried AEW so much they released people. Yeah, that's the other news. AEW, for the first time ever, released a bunch of talent. Not any significant names, but it is newsworthy because AEW up until now never just released a bunch of talent in one day. And it's very interesting that they did this on April Fool's Day of all days, and on the same day, this comes out hours after CM Punk basically says AEW is not a business and Tony Khan is not a boss. Very interesting, the timing of all this. But again, NoDQ.com, you can read that list. Sorry to hear about people losing their jobs, but at the end of the day, if you're not using people, you're just wasting money. So it is part of business, and AEW, like WWE, has hoarded a lot of talent, and there's only so many people you can use. Anyways, that's another discussion for another time. This is about Monday Night Raw, so let's get back to Raw. We had DIY and New Day against the Judgment Day in an 8-man tag team match to hype up the 6-pack tag team ladder match at WrestleMania. Pretty solid match here. Basic tag match on Monday Night Raw. It was back and forth for a while, and Damian Priest came in, stopped the momentum of the good guys. He choke slammed Kofi Kingston, and then he gave Ciampa the Razor's Edge and picked up the victory. So I think that we are going to have new tag team champions. Spoiler alert on my prediction. I have my opinions. And by the way, another bit of news coming out of Raw. We have the lineups confirmed for WrestleMania. So Tuesday night, 7 p.m. Eastern, 4 p.m. Pacific. Let me throw up the schedule. We're already one stream down. We're on the second one right now. Tuesday night, 7 p.m. Eastern, 4 p.m. Pacific. We have night one predictions for WrestleMania, and we have a full card confirmed for night one and night two. Night two predictions will be Thursday night, 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific. So just a quick plug for that. And now let's get back to Raw. We had The Rock and Roman Reigns backstage, and it was confirmed also for the Hall of Fame. Number one, The Rock will be inducting his grandmother into the WWE Hall of Fame. And on top of that, Roman Reigns will be inducting Paul Heyman, the wise man, into the Hall of Fame, which, I mean, he was one of the main candidates. It was going to be either him or CM Punk, or maybe they bring in somebody like RVD or Tommy Dreamer. So no surprise there. Roman Reigns doing the induction speech for Heyman. We had a little vignette of Sami Zayn and Chad Gable. Chad Gable was prepping Sami Zayn, and Zayn was getting frustrated, and Gable was yelling at him, and Zayn said he's afraid of letting his people down, letting his fans and family down, letting himself down. He got it together, though, kind of like Rocky. He got motivated, and he was doing good by the end of the vignette. And then Judgment Day was backstage. Legado del Fantasma came into their locker room, and this was an invite from Dominic Mysterio. Dominic's teaming up with Santos at WrestleMania. Both Damian Priest and Rhea Ripley were not happy about this. Once again, not informed about Legado showing up. So, you know, something's brewing here. Maybe a split within Judgment Day. Maybe somebody's getting kicked out at WrestleMania or shortly after WrestleMania. Will Dominic Mysterio leave Judgment Day and join Legado? Would not shock me at this point. Will Rhea Ripley go babyface? I mean, there's a lot of different ways this can go, but I suspect something is going to happen with Judgment Day here very shortly. We had Sami Zayn versus Bronson Reed, a rematch from last week. a little opportunity for Sami Zayn to get his win back going into WrestleMania. Similar match to last week. Gable was watching backstage, and Zayn kept struggling to build momentum, and he kept trying to pick up Bronson. He did hit him with a sunset flip power bomb out of the corner, but Reed kicked out. And then he tried to lift Reed again, could not do it. Zayn tried to do an exploder suplex, but again, could not pick up Reed. Reed went for the tsunami, but Zayn avoided it. And then Zayn was going for the haluva kick, but then Gunther had attacked Chad Gable backstage, dragged his body out by the stage. Sami Zayn went over to check on Gable, and then Gunther attacked Zayn, stood over him, told him the dream is over, and then Zayn somehow managed to get to his feet after getting beaten up, but then Gunther nailed him with the championship and left him laying. So will Gunther's Intercontinental title reign finally end? We'll be talking about it on the predictions video. I will say this. I am not sure on this one. I have to think about it, but I will give my official prediction Tuesday night, 7 p.m. Eastern, 4 p.m. Pacific. Now, here's an interesting thing that Matthew brought up. We did not see Chad Gable get attacked by Gunther. We just saw Gunther drag his body out there. So could Gable and Gunther potentially be in cahoots? You never know. But we'll talk about this on the predictions video and discuss some potential outcomes for this match. Backstage, we had Jey Uso meeting up with rapper Lil Wayne, and there was an invitation which Lil Wayne accepted. So Lil Wayne will be at WrestleMania as a special guest celebrity. Next up, we had Ivy Nile and Maxxine Dupri against Candice LeRae and Indi Hartwell. Unfortunately, the crowd was dead for this match. They did not care about the ladies, unfortunately. Another match which was basically just to continue building the Candice LeRae heel turn. And Candice was cheating. She knocked Ivy Nile off the top rope while the referee was distracted. But then Indi had a moral issue with this. She had words with Candice, who was on the apron. And then Maxxine drop-kicked Indi into Candice, who fell off the apron. And then Maxxine rolled up Indi Hartwell to get the win. So will Indi and Candice split, or will Indi eventually go to the dark side? That remains to be seen. We had Jey Uso backstage with Seth Rollins. Jey said he has Rollins' back in the Bloodline Rules match. And then Rollins talked with Jey. We went to a commercial. We had a Drew McIntyre funeral vignette. He said, "Look in my eyes. What do you see? CM Punk has no match in Philly." He said that Punk's fragile body was made even worse than his UFC career. And then he turned his attention to Rollins, said that Rollins saw the Joker movie and stole the gimmick, and said he's going to put the horse down that is Seth Rollins once and for all at WrestleMania. And with Clash at the Castle coming up, I mean, either McIntyre has to be going for a title or he'll be the champion going into that event. Makes me think he's definitely staying with the company with them announcing this Clash at the Castle event. And we'll talk about Damian Priest on the predictions video if we think he cashes in at WrestleMania. I will say this right now. For the sake of his character, he has to. It's WrestleMania. Like, if you have, as people are putting it, 4 opportunities to cash in and you don't do it, what does that say about your character? That your character is a complete dumbass. We had Ricochet versus Ivar, which I thought was the best match of Raw. Very good match with these two. WWE, Triple H, Paul Levesque, they're starting to rebuild Ricochet and try to make him a serious contender again. Good match here with these two. Ivar dominated a good portion of it, but then Ricochet hit a springboard clothesline, standing shooting star press. Ivar kicked out, and then Ivar took him down with a sit-down power bomb. Ricochet kicked out, and then Ivar caught Ricochet, delivered a spinning power slam, and then did his springboard crossbody. Ricochet once again kicked out, and then Ricochet was able to avoid the doomsault. Ricochet picked up Ivar in the corner and hit a fall-away slam, which got a big pop from the crowd. Very impressive athletic move here. And then Ricochet got the win with the 630. Clean. No Valhalla. Just a clean win for Ricochet. Build up some momentum for him. And yeah, Triple H is doing a great job trying to build up Ricochet again. I mean, it is possible to rehab guys. We saw it with Gable. Gable was Shorty G. I mean, his career was DOA, and he made a nice comeback. And Ricochet got squashed by Brock Lesnar, and now he's making a nice comeback. Backstage, we had more with Legado, Del Fantasma, and Judgment Day. Andrade then came into the room. He was introduced to Santos Escobar, and Dominic said that if Andrade can take care of Ricochet in the Dre, the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal, then maybe he'll become a full-time member of Judgment Day. He'll join the crew. And Andrade shook Dominic's hand, and then Rhea Ripley left to handle some business with Becky Lynch. Will Andrade win the Dre? We'll see what happens. Or will Ricochet win it? Seems like they're the two favorites at this time. We had Becky Lynch come into the ring looking for a fight with Raw Women's Champion Rhea Ripley. Adam Pearce came out there, said, no, this is not happening. He had security, which, I mean, yeah, we know where this is going. So, of course, Rhea Ripley comes out there, charges through security. They fight. They break through security. Becky jumps off the top rope with a dive onto the security guards, and then they keep fighting. Your standard pull-apart brawl here. I thought the thing they did on the MMA hour was maybe enough, but, you know, they added a little segment for the live crowd, whatever. Not my favorite type of segment. I just think it's very overdone, but they kept it pretty short, so I'll give them credit for that. We had Damage Control cutting a backstage promo. They had a 6-woman tag team match against Tegan Nox, Shayna Baszler, and Zoe Stark. When Tegan was shown out there, it pretty much gave away who's taking the fall here. Just a showcase match for Damage Control, but the other team did get in some offense. They did stereo German suplexes. They sent Damage Control out of the ring, but eventually Tegan was taken out. Asuka and Kairi Sane did their move where Asuka holds Tegan and Kairi comes off the top with the insane elbow. No surprise here. Damage Control picks up a win leading into WrestleMania. So it was what it was. And then Rollins cut a backstage promo, said that he always has a plan B. And then he ran into McIntyre, said he ain't dead yet. And then Rollins came to the ring. Solo came to the ring. We had our main event. Bloodline rules. Rollins was going right after Solo. He was throwing chairs at Solo's head. He DDT'd him on a chair, and then he pulled out a table, but that backfired on him. Solo ended up giving Rollins a Samoan drop off the second ropes through the table. Crowd chanted, "Holy shit." And the crowd was loving the table spot. Holy shit got censored by USA Network, as it always does, except for a couple years ago, apparently. I remember Bobby Lashley said the S word on Raw, and it was not censored a few years ago. After the commercial, they fought on the outside some more. We had another table brought in, and Rollins ended up power bombing Solo out of the corner through the table, hit the curb stomp, was on the verge of getting the 1-2-3 victory. But then, no surprise here, Jimmy Uso runs down, super kicks Seth Rollins. And then we had Jey Uso come out there. He brawled with Jimmy, but then The Rock attacked Jey Uso, got in the ring, was going to finish off Seth Rollins. Rollins smiled, and we had Cody's music hit. Cody came down. He had the bandage on his head. He got in the ring. He brawled with The Rock, and he took Rock to the outside. He was going to put Rock through the announce table with the Rock bottom, but Roman Reigns stopped him. Roman Reigns got Cody in the ring, speared Cody, and then Reigns and Rock hugged, and they continued their assault on Seth Rollins and Cody Rhodes. Rock took off his weightlifting belt, gave it to Roman Reigns. Reigns started whipping both Cody and Rollins, and then Rock pulled off Cody's shirt and started whipping him like really hard. He was selling WrestleMania. He was not holding back with these belt shots. And then both guys were laid out, and the crowd was chanting Rocky sucks. Roman and Rock held up their titles, or their belts, I should say. Roman had his Universal belt, and The Rock had his weightlifting belt. So back-to-back weeks, Cody gets destroyed to close WWE RAW. I think that's a safe bet now that Cody is leaving WrestleMania as the champion. As far as this angle goes, I think it was great. I think this was an excellent end to the show. Roman Reigns got some dominance in here. You set up the tag match. Things are looking bleak for Cody Rhodes and Seth Rollins going into WrestleMania. So you get the heat on the bad guys. And that was a great beatdown. And Cody took some stiff belt shots to sell WrestleMania. So there you go. Shout out to Walter Cruz. Thank you, Walter. There's a thumbs up for you. $5 super chat. Thank you. Says, imagine a faction with Trinity, Jade, Bianca, and Lashley Lash. Is that Lash Legend? They would be the female Evolution, and points out how each of them could represent an Evolution member. Yeah, you could do that, although I could see people criticizing that idea, like just for putting all the black female superstars in one group. I mean, I've already seen people complaining, like where they put all the Japanese women in one group, where they put all the Latinos in one group. So, some people don't like when that's done. But, I would like to see Bianca and Jade team for a while before they ultimately go against each other. Overall, I thought Raw was a good go-home show, but ultimately, it was not as good as last week, and I felt like it was going to be very difficult to top last week. Like Matthew said in the chat, the opening and ending, I think, really carried the show. I'm going to give it a B+ because I thought the final angle was excellent, and I enjoyed the stuff with The Rock at the beginning, and the show was solid. Good build-up for WrestleMania. It was like a B-. Like, I don't think it was stellar in the middle, but it was solid, and then the stuff at the end I thought was great. So I balance it out, B+, very good Raw, and the closing angle was really well done. Shout out to Psycho Jet Black, who sent in a $5 super chat. And it was a hot crowd, except for the couple of women's matches where they just lost interest, and you can't really blame them. I mean, when we talk about rehabbing people, I mean, WWE needs to just rehab the women's tag division. That's where they really need to try to build up these women. But anyway, Psycho Jet Black There's a thumbs up. Thank you for the super chat. I appreciate it. Says, do you think some people are upset with the final segment because they realize that Roman might actually lose at WrestleMania Night 2 and not break Hogan's record? Well, of course, I'm sure there are some Roman Reigns fans that know how wrestling booking 101 goes. And when the heels look this strong going into WrestleMania, they are probably losing. But I think this is what you need to do. You need to make Roman Reigns look dominant going into WrestleMania. So I think this was absolutely the right way to go. You want to build him up. Look at WrestleMania 14. They made sure that Shawn Michaels dominated Steve Austin those last couple weeks before WrestleMania, right before you got to the big show. Like, you really want to stack the deck against the good guy heading into the big show. And if my memory serves me correctly, I believe for WrestleMania 15, The Rock also got the best of Steve Austin right before WrestleMania on the go-home show. So that's typically how you do it. And that was when wrestling was red hot, and wrestling's red hot right now. So this is the way to do it. Even if it's predictable, it's the way you got to go to build up the story for WrestleMania and to maximize that pop when Cody Rhodes finally wins. B+ for the show. Very good Raw. Stoked for WrestleMania. Again, NoDQ.com. Stay tuned. It is a very busy week. A lot going on. Building Nexus sent in a $2 super chat. Thank you for that, Building Nexus. I appreciate it. Says, Cody needs to beat Roman clean, right? Clean as in he wins a fair fight. You know it's going to be unfair. Whether it's bloodline rules or not, you know we're going to have shenanigans, and I think Cody's going to get some help. And I've always argued that I'm fine with that. I'm fine with Cody having help as long as it's making an unfair fight a fair fight, and Cody wins when the odds are evened. So Cody will win. It will be decisive that he's won the war. Like, he lost that battle, but he ultimately won the war. That's how it's going to play out. And yeah, spoiler alert, I think Cody Rhodes is going to be your next Universal Champion. Have a great week, everybody. We got more to come. This is just night 2 of 13 straight nights of live streaming. Stay tuned to NoDQ.com. Say yes to NoDQ. Buy a shirt. NoDQ.com/merch. And I will see you guys next time.